Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and I'm back here to bring you more stories from Reddit. Reddit Relationships is the place where people post their problems with relationships, so we're basically just covering Reddit stories. They're not necessarily romantic, but a lot of them are. I will also be using posts from Am I the Asshole? Anyway, let's get into it with crazy stories from Reddit Relationships. Am I the asshole for accidentally but literally ruining an old friend's life? Throwaway, because I don't want this on my main. Facts have been changed for protection. The truck story is the best comparison I can come up with. TLDR at bottom. Back when, fake names, James and I were 17, we borrowed his mom's truck. Thing is, we completely wrecked it by accident. We were on a slope and didn't use the parking brake. The short version is it ended up rolling down the slope, going/rolling over an embankment and crashing pretty hard. We both got banged up chasing after it because we didn't know the embankment was there and ended up falling onto the truck. To get out of trouble, we told everyone we were in the truck when it happened and made up a lie about swerving to avoid hitting something. After high school, we went our separate ways. Fell 100% out of touch. I mean no contact for 15 years. Anyway, last summer, I'm passing through a town for work, and when I stop into a diner for lunch, there's James. He's with a group of people, but he recognizes me and immediately runs over. It's sort of a happy mini reunion. It was really great. He's laughing with his wife, I didn't even know he was married, telling her about all the antics we got into as teenagers. This is where the proverbial poop hit the fan. I told the car rolling story. So it turns out James has built his entire life around that lie. He became a career motivational speaker about overcoming and surviving trauma. He met his wife in a trauma survivors group. And if that wasn't bad enough, the other two people there were his agent and a reporter. They were all there for an interview ahead of the release of a book he's getting published. Long and short, the fallout was bad. His wife has left him. The agency he was with decided not to work with him anymore, and the reporter does what reporters do. Ultimately, his book deal was canned, and apparently he's now being sued by multiple people/places for all the lies he profited from. I'm writing this post because I found out he's also facing criminal charges for this and is looking at real time. James never came at me, but his mother has brought the wrath of God down on me. A lot of the town we grew up in has been attacking me online, calling me the asshole. And honestly, I really feel like shit about it. I never meant to ruin his life, but I feel like an asshole because I was complicit in that lie by helping fabricate it in the first place. I also feel like the asshole because when I looked into him, he was genuinely trying to do good and help trauma victims. I don't know how to feel, so my wife told me to share the story here to see. She says I'm not the asshole simply by virtue that I couldn't have known. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say not the asshole too. The other guy's kind of the asshole, I guess. And yeah, it does remind me of the dude who faked a saw trap, by the way. Am I the asshole for not paying my stepbrother's tuition? First version exceeded character limit, so I have to cut short. This is a throwaway and I'm on mobile. 9 years ago, when I, 26 female, was 17, and my brother, 19 male, was 10, our mother died after suffering for a long time due to chronic illness. Long story short, I got severe depression and my dad remarried within a year. I got along with my stepmother and my stepbrother, 18 male, quite well. My dad kicked me out on my 18th birthday and my boyfriend took me in. I put myself through 4-5 years of college by having an almost full-time job. After graduation, I landed a managing job with insanely good salary and was able to pay the rest of my college debt and save a decent amount. My brother is my everything since he's all the family I have left. August 2019, he told me our dad is kicking him out too. And my boyfriend and I took him in to live with us on 3 conditions. Stay out of trouble, do some minor chores, keep up the good grades. He followed these rules and even got a part-time job to help out with groceries. He and I had no contact with our dad the whole time, just occasionally with our stepbrother, who we consider a friend. When he started college last summer, I said I would pay for it if he continues following the rules. He did, and I paid. I'm incredibly proud of him because he is only getting A's and doing really good. Somehow, dad, stepbrother, and stepmother found out I was paying. Stepbrother is going to start college this summer, and they can't afford it without taking on a huge debt. So stepmother called and asked point blank if I would pay for stepbrother too. I said no. I'm happy to pay for my brother, but I won't for my stepbrother. Since then, 4 days ago, this whole side of the family, including aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, etc., are calling me an ass for playing favors. I'm going crazy over it because they won't stop after multiple no's. Am I the asshole? Edit, to answer if stepbrother still lives with them. Yes, he does. He turned 18 mid-November 2020. Edit 2, the family calling me out now are all from my dad or my stepmother. My mother has no family left. Also, I reached out to them after I was kicked out, but they never answered. It's the first time they are reaching out to me. Okay, yeah, so that story's pretty weird. You'd think the family would feel stupid even calling about this. It didn't check out to the author either, and that's why we have an update on this one. Let's check it out. My original post from 4 days ago got more attention than I thought, so I will give you an update. Thank you for all the comments and awards. A few hours after I posted this, I started to dig because I was wondering how they found out I was paying for my brother, since no one apart from me, my boyfriend, my brother, and my bank agent know. Turns out a friend of my stepmother works in the administration office of the college, and she told my stepmother I was paying. I went furious, as this is a clear violation of confidential information, and I'm currently working with my lawyer to sue her for this. Now on to the real issue. Shortly after I posted, I reread the texts I got from my extended family. To me, they seemed off. Something was irritating me, and I figured out what exactly. It was the way they accused me and blamed me that ticked me off. So I called in a Zoom meeting. It turns out that when my father kicked me out, they told them it was my choice to run away and he is disappointed by his child. Told the same story about my brother when he kicked him out too. That's why they never reached out to me. However, they had 9 years to do anything, and they never did, so they are out of my life. I blocked them and don't want to hear from them again. As to my father, stepmother, and stepbrother, called me again and again and again. I continued to say no, and after learning they lied to everyone, I didn't bother to answer their calls again. I blocked them after that. My brother and I decided to go completely no contact with everyone from now on. I'm a bit sad that I won't be able to talk to my stepbrother. Like I said, we had a quite good relationship like friends. But he supported and agreed with my dad and stepmother's way of talking to me, so I see no point in investing time in this relationship. Guess he was also just interested in the money, or he would have acted otherwise. They tried to blame me that I'm responsible if my stepbrother doesn't get a good job, but really I just don't care. I had to manage it myself, so I don't give a damn. So I'm not going to give in. My brother, boyfriend, and I are moving to another city 45 minutes away next week anyways. Planned for months, so it has nothing to do with this. So I won't be likely to bump into them. We lived in the same city until now, and even though it's fairly big, there was always a chance of bumping into each other. I don't think they know it, and I'm not planning to tell them. If they find out, I don't care. To me, they don't exist from now on, and my boyfriend, my brother, and I will continue to live together as our little family. Also, because some people asked, my boyfriend has a big family, but they live on the other side of the world, so I've only seen them twice in the 10 years we are together. Again, thank you so much for all your kind words. Yeah, this is all pretty infuriating. How are you going to ask your kid who has put themselves through college to just completely pay someone else's way? This guy should feel like a loser. Not because he can't pay for his kid's college, but for asking this. If everyone got free school, that's fine with me, but it's pretty bad that some people go into debt for half their lives while others just don't. I do have a story that's similar but way worse that I'll be covering soon, but not in this video. Let's do something that's actually from Reddit relationships for once. Okay, I think this is the last story for today, and it's pretty hard to read. It should make you cringe. I, 29 female, incorrectly thought my boyfriend, 31 male, was cheating, and I ruined everything. My boyfriend and I have been dating for over 2 years. I'll save everyone the long description and just say that he's an incredible boyfriend and I constantly feel like I won the lottery with him, and want nothing more than to marry him. But I've totally thrown it all down the toilet, and I don't know if there's any way I can fix this. Last week on Friday, we were hanging out at my place. He was going to head back to his place, and while he was in the bathroom, his phone chimed. It was a message from Jennifer, not real name, saying, "Just checking that we're still on for tomorrow night. You're picking me up, right?" My heart dropped. He doesn't have a pass on his phone, so I checked the message history. It started recently with her saying, "It's me, and is it okay that I'm texting you?" To which he said something like, "Of course," and some emojis. He said he was going to take her out on Saturday and she could pick wherever they were going to go. He came back from the bathroom. I quick turned off the phone and was just frozen. I should have said something, but I was just like totally numb. My heart was beating so fast. He said talk to you later and headed out. I was completely sick all night. The next day I decided I wouldn't confront him immediately. Another mistake, so around noon I texted him and asked, "What are we going to do tonight?" to see what he says. He says he forgot to tell me that he had plans over at his brother's house, about 90 minutes away, and that we could do something on Sunday. I didn't write back, I was just watching it all fall apart. Finally I sent him something asking when he was going to his brother's, and he said he was already in the car on his way and that he'd text me later. So, I got in my car and drove over to his brother's house, knowing that he'd have a head start on me, and when I arrive, he should be there if he's telling the truth. I get there, and sure enough, his car is nowhere to be found. I should have gone up to the door and spoken to his brother, but I was a wreck, so I drove home. This whole story is an example of hindsight being 20/20. The author knows exactly how stupid these decisions were as soon as they blew up in her face. At least talk to your partner before you get too pissed at them. This dude left his phone out unlocked, he can't be that good of a cheater. That night I put his shit in a box, and in the morning I drove over to his place. I had rehearsed what I was going to say and how calm I wanted to say it in my head like 1,000 times, but when I pushed the box into his chest and said I knew about Jennifer and we're done, he had kind of a smirk on his face like he thought I was joking, and I just lost all my cool. I said so many terrible things. I told him I'll get a better/hotter boyfriend no problem, and I should have upgraded from him long ago, and I'm going to find someone who doesn't require me to fake it when we're having sex. I don't fake it, I really like sex with him, and I find him very attractive. I also made some comment about him being small. His size is fine, because I knew he's self-conscious about this and I knew it would hurt. I wanted him to hurt like I was hurting, and I know it's fucked up. I'm a terrible person. He's totally in shock at this point, jaw open, tears in eyes. I told him that when Jennifer gets sick of his terrible sex, don't come crawling back to me, and I started to leave. This is when he tells me that Jennifer is his 12-year-old niece. I've only met her a few times, and as far as I knew, her name was Mei Mei. Not real name, but it turns out that's a Chinese nickname that has some specific significance to her family. My boyfriend's sister-in-law is from China. I don't know for sure if I ever knew or was told specifically that Jennifer was her real name, but I've heard her called Mei Mei, and I've called her that myself, so what the fuck? She turned 12 recently and got a phone for the first time, hence the new text conversation. I knew she just turned 12, he had a work conflict and couldn't make the party. I knew that he had promised to take her out for a night sometime to make up for missing her party. I knew all of this, but I just didn't put any of the pieces together. He shut the door and went no contact on me. I banged on his door until I was pretty sure he had left out the back and had taken off. I tried showing up at his work the next day, but they have security in the entrance and you need an employee to get you in. He refused the call from security when I asked them to call him at his desk. I've tried reaching out to mutual friends, but I get told that he saw how I really felt about him, and he can't stay with someone who pretends to care but secretly is desperate for better. But I'm not at all desperate for better, I am desperate for him. I know this is 1,000,000% on me. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. But I said things to hurt him because I was sure he was cheating on me, and I said things that were not true. I know saying things to hurt him is terrible, and I am terrible, and I hate myself for ruining both our lives, but he needs to know that I didn't mean that, and that isn't how I have ever felt about him at all. If I had just been a fucking adult about the whole thing, none of this would have happened, but I lost it, and now I feel like my entire future that I had is gone. I don't know how I can possibly convince someone that something I said is not true. I've actually looked into paying for a polygraph test and tried to get it to him. There are some places in the city that charge a few $100s for one. If that sounds desperate, it's because it is, and I am absolutely desperate at this point. I seriously just want to die. 2 weeks ago, I was thinking he was going to propose at Valentine's Day based on the plans he was making, and today I'm crying my eyes out as my life falls apart, and I'm hearing that his friends are taking him out tomorrow to be his wingmen and help find someone for him to help him get over me. Edit, just want to say that I totally agree with all the comments blasting me. I made all the wrong decisions. I acted like a psycho and immature piece of shit, and I have no one to blame at all but myself. I also completely realize that I've done terrible damage to him, and I feel disgusted for having done this. I sent him a letter telling him that I'll no longer try to contact him, so he doesn't have to worry about me showing up. I told him that I'm beyond sorry for blowing up his life with my outburst and immature behavior, but I told him to please believe me that I didn't mean anything I said for his own peace of mind in his future. I was contemplating following through with the polygraph and just sending the results as a way to try to help his state of mind in his future relationships, as opposed to using the results to try to convince him to give me another chance. But I think maybe it seems too crazy of a thing to do, so I'm just going to leave it. I told him the time we had together was the greatest time of my life, and I'm sure whoever is the girl that is lucky enough to be with him next will probably feel like she won the lottery, just like I always did. I realize that I've destroyed my life, but I hope that he can recover from what I've done, so at least the destruction can be somewhat limited to me more than him. Yeah, I don't think these people are as clueless as she might be thinking. He and his friends are probably fully aware that she was speaking out of hurt, and those things might not have been entirely true. but it doesn't change anything that much. She went out of her way to say the worst things that she could to him for absolutely no reason, it turns out. Men and women aren't that different. You can hurt most men pretty badly with words if you're the right person and know the right ones to use. Like in this story. I'd just take this as a cautionary tale at this point. But let me know what you think. This is one of those ones where I visibly cringed when I saw the line about who Jennifer was. But that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, I sure hope you let me hear it in the comments. Comments are good for the algorithm. If you're new here and want more stories from Reddit and sometimes other things, consider subscribing because a lot of people base their worth on that number. Tell me I'm small, I'll just be like, yeah, right. But if you tell me my subscriber count is inadequate, I'd be crying like a bitch. Yeah, not really. Anyway, have a great night, everyone, and be careful which lies you decide to base your adult life around.